North Dakota Senator Kevin Cramer was on the front lines keeping Chinese company from buying farmland in his state next to military bases. He joins us now to talk about it. Senator Cramer, as always, great to see you. As I understand it now, the whole federal government will try to pass on these Chinese encroachments into farmland, but they tried in North Dakota and you kept them out. Maybe you want to talk to us about that, the Fufang Group or whatever it's called.
Yeah, the Fufang Group. So what happened in Grand Forks was because Grand Forks Air Force Base was not designated officially as a highly sensitive base, probably partly because they didn't want to put a target on them. The CFIUS, the Committee on Foreign Investment in the United States, did not have jurisdiction over this foreign investment of farmland near Grand Forks. And consequently, they punted on making a decision, which then led the Air Force to say publicly in a letter that, this project presents a serious or significant national security risk. So then it deep sixed the project. The problem is CFIUS. And so what CFIUS did this week is they announced that Grand Forks and the Minot Air Force Base, which, by the way, is where Charles Payne first served, in Minot, North Dakota. But those two bases and a number of other bases have now been placed on the highly sensitive list, which means that for a 100-mile radius around those bases, CFIUS has direct jurisdiction. And that's an important step in helping us fend off bad investment. And we still have plenty more to do, obviously. There's a lot of legislation out there, but this was a good, important step.
Well, it would have brought, as I understand it, you and I talked briefly about this on the radio a while back, as I recall. As I understand it, this Fufang, whatever this corn milling operation, would have brought in some money, some serious money into North Dakota.
Oh, sure.
But you and John Hoeven and the governor implored the people, and they were patriots, and they voted to keep them out. Is that that's what happened? It was local. No, it was a local uprising that stopped it.
It was the people that put the city commission on the line at the city council and pushed them hard. The council wanted to keep the project, but then they wanted more direction from the federal government, who has the means and of course the expertise to make these decisions. And the federal government was very slow to respond, and that was irritating. But the CFIUS process worked its way through, only to determine ultimately it had no jurisdiction. It was the Air Force that ultimately said, "Nah, if this investment happens, it puts us in jeopardy. It is a significant national security risk," and that was enough to prompt the mayor and the others on the city council to pull the plug on the whole investment. But the tragic part of it, Larry, was we went for nearly a year and a half debating the issue when we really just should have pulled the plug right away. That was my council. It was Senator Hoeven's council. But
the thing is,
the city didn't see it that way.
Given the way the world is right now, I'm inclined to say I don't want China buying any damn farmland. Really? Why do we want that? I mean, what are they doing for us? Why would we give them that benefit? And all these Chinese companies are instrumentalities of the Chinese Communist Party. That's the law. Why would we give them a benny? They're not giving us any bennies. All they're giving us is grief.
No, in fact, Larry, during the pandemic, we learned, firsthand how susceptible and vulnerable our supply chain, critical supply chains are to Chinese Communist Party, including food. China owns one of the largest, if not the largest, meatpacking facility in the United States. They're always looking to buy more critical infrastructure, more critical supply chain. Pharmaceuticals, we learned that during the pandemic too, how absolutely dependent we are on China for that, critical minerals, as we've talked about many, many times. So we need to wean ourselves from that. China has taken full advantage of our open, free market capitalist system, but they've never adopted it. We always had hoped for the last 30 years that they would see how great capitalism is and adopt it. Instead, they've turned us, if anything, more into socialists. And so now we have to put up the stop sign now.
Well, I think that's exactly right. Anyway, I'm glad that you fought them out there in North Dakota, Senator Kevin Cramer. We appreciate it very much. We will talk soon.